They had just finished practice. When they saw me, they burst into laughter. But I quickly got an idea and lied that I was just shooting pranks about fools in leggings. That's why I looked so ridiculous. The guys believed it. But Mr. Stewart ruined everything. He left the hall and came up to us. Tom, let me remind you, just in case. The class tomorrow begins an hour earlier. By the way, you should work on your movement at home. You move your hips too sluggishly for samba. I had no words. There was no stopping my friends after that. Roaring with laughter, they began to parody my dance. I was furious. Mr. Stewart was mocking me and deliberately made me look like a complete loser. At home, I complained to my sister about him and sewed up my trousers and suggested to teach me a little. She had done ballroom dancing when she was a kid and taught me a few basic movements. I spent the night rehearsing in front of the mirror. The next day, I did so in class. Even Mr. Stewart praised me. But that wasn't the most important thing. Mila agreed to be paired with me again. After all, I was the only guy in the group who matched her height. And now that I was getting a little better, I was quite a good partner. As we danced, Mila noted my progress. I decided I would get no other chance and invited her to the cinema in the evening. She agreed. It seemed like nothing could ruin my mood anymore. But when I came out of the locker after class, I saw my sister. She walked into Mr. Stewart's office. I leaned against the door and tried to eavesdrop on their conversation, but I couldn't hear anything, so I stopped trying. As soon as Anne came out, I asked her what she had been doing in there. It turned out Anne had felt angry after my stories about my unfair teacher, so she had come to put him in place. Great, just what I needed, and everything had been going so well. I pounced on my sister. Stop treating me like a little kid. Quit meddling in my life. Anne got upset and didn't want to talk all the way home, but I had other things to worry about. I chose a horror movie, bought tickets, and ordered flower delivery. In the evening, I was already sitting in the cinema and hugging Mila, so I completely forgot about my sister, but that didn't last long. During a scary moment, someone screamed. I turned around and saw Anne in the back row. Had she followed me there? That was going too far. I sat down next to my sister and told her everything I thought about her, but she just twirled her finger at her temple. I'm here with a guy. He went out to get us some popcorn. Yeah, sure, like I'd believed that. I left that liar alone and went back to Mila. After a while, I looked back and saw that my sister really was with some dude. It turned out that Anne hadn't been lying, and I shouldn't have accused her. I spent the rest of the movie trying to see her boyfriend's face, but as luck would have it, the horror movie turned out to be very dark, and I couldn't make out anything. We didn't manage to talk after the movie. The couple left quickly. When I got home, the first thing I did was apologize to my sister. After she forgave me, I suggested we invite her boyfriend over, but for some reason she tensed up and tried to change the topic. It seemed strange to me. The next day at school, I couldn't stop thinking about what my sister was hiding. The last class was canceled. I hurried home to talk to Anne again before she left for work at a nail salon. I heard her laughing in the living room. She was watching TV on the couch. I remember how she screamed in fear in the cinema and decided to prank her. I crawled up to the sofa, made a scary face, and rose to spook her. But I was in for an unpleasant surprise. Anne was kissing Mr. Stewart, the awful teacher who consistently humiliated me. Now it was clear why my sister had come to his office. There was only one thing that kept me from ruining the evening for the couple. If I confronted them, it would have been much harder to break them up. I crawled into my room and tried to think of what to do. By nightfall, my insidious plan was ready. I decided to frame the teacher I hated so that my sister would dump him herself. That way, no one would blame me for sure. The next day, I took a bright lipstick and used it to write a romantic note in someone else's handwriting. After the class, I sneaked into the teacher's office. I wanted to get lipstick all over Mr. Stewart's shirt and put a note in his pocket. And in the evening, I would tell my sister about some girl my teacher was seeing after classes. But I didn't have time to do anything. Footsteps sounded outside the door. My heart was pounding like mad. The only thing that came to my mind to do was to hide behind a hanger with costumes. Mr. Stewart came in, followed by Mila. She took a leotard out of her bag, held it against herself, and asked, I'll wear this tonight. Do you think it'll do? Mr. Stewart nodded approvingly. Mila kissed him on the cheek. Well, cheer up. You know what it's all for. As soon as they both left, I climbed out through the window. It all seemed like some stupid dream. Mr. Stewart was even worse than I'd imagined. He really was dating two girls at once, my sister and my almost girlfriend. Now I realized why he hadn't wanted me to dance with Mila. I absolutely had to make Anne see what an awful person my teacher was. I wouldn't even have to deceive her. I waited on the porch until Mr. Stewart came out and followed him. He disappeared into a high-rise building. I hid in a playground and waited. A few hours after that, he walked out of there with a large sports bag, and I kept following him. Mr. Stewart met up with Mila near some building, hugged her, and they went inside. I followed them. There were so many people inside that I lost sight of the couple and just followed the crowd. I found myself in a spacious gym with a ring in the middle of it. The audience gathered around, anticipating a fight. I had always been indifferent to martial arts, so I was about to leave. But then something really surprising happened. Mila walked into the ring wearing only the leotard and holding a sign in her hands. Mr. Stewart, in boxing shorts and gloves, came in after her. The presenter introduced the participant. Henry Stewart, winner of the 2010 Youth Boxing Championship among juniors. So that was it. My dance teacher used to be a boxer. I was so stunned that I didn't even immediately remember why I was there. When I came to my senses, I took out my phone and filmed Mr. Stewart's fight. I had to give him his due. He fought amazingly well. He easily dodged even the most unexpected attacks of his opponent, and eventually knocked him out with one blow. Joyous Mila threw himself at him. If I didn't hate Mr. Stewart, I would have even applauded. But now, he was my enemy number one. In the evening, I showed my sister everything I had filmed, but she looked at me like I was a jerk. Yes, I know. What's the big deal? You asked me not to meddle in your life, but you're meddling in mine. I was shocked. It seemed Anne had gone crazy since she was already ready to accept her boyfriend had another girl. I decided to break my teacher and Mila up instead. Maybe at least she would have more brains than my sister. I didn't come up with a clever plan this time. The next day after practices, I came up to Mila, standing by the water cooler to tell her everything as it was. But some guy beat me to it. I heard him demand money from Mila. The girl promised she would have it soon. After the stranger left, she burst into tears. I felt sorry for her. The truth about Mr. Stewart would have been too much for her at that moment. I decided to leave that strange trio alone. In the end, they should really sort out their tangled relationships by themselves. There was a silver lining. I no longer saw any point in doing ballroom dancing or wearing my stupid costume. I took it out of my backpack, crumpled it up, and threw it in the trash. Goodbye, embarrassing outfit. I immediately felt better. I went outside and breathed a sigh of relief. But then, I suddenly noticed the guy who had upset Mila. He was talking loudly to someone on the phone. The siblings are being stubborn. I've already raised the rent for their damn dance school 3 times, but they still find money somewhere. Well, never mind that. Prepare for a show. I planted fake money in Stewart's office. The cops are already on their way. And now, they were in serious danger. I rushed into Mr. Stewart's office, pushed him away from the desk, and started rummaging through the documents. The teacher was speechless from such impudence, but there was no time to explain. I found a stack of dollars and stuffed them into my backpack. Before Mr. Stewart could say anything, the cops burst into the office and began a search. Of course, they didn't find anything, so they apologized and left. I explained everything to the shocked teacher. He thanked me for my help. Who knows what would have happened if it hadn't been for you? This school is the only thing Mila and I have left of our mom. She was a professional dancer. After she passed away, we decided to continue her work. But they have been trying to buy the school for a long time. And now it looks like we're going to have to give up. They will stop at nothing. They were giving up too early. There were a bunch of cameras near the entrance. The landlord had been bragging so loudly that one of them could have caught the sound. I took the teacher to the security room with all the monitors. We found the recording and handed it over to the police that same day. That vile guy was arrested. He would face justice for what he had done now. The building got a new owner who rented it to the dance school for a normal price. Mr. Stewart and I found a common language after all that. I was no longer against his relationship with my sister. My love life improved as well. Mila and I became a couple. I'm breakdancing again. After all, now I no longer have to do ballroom dancing, which I hated. Mr. Stewart and Mila stopped doing what they didn't love as well. The dance school brought them enough money. That's how ballroom dancing made me happy. Have you ever danced jive or cha-cha-cha?